really what we came to do is kind of hear Solomon's story. So with that, I'd like to introduce number 94 defensive lineman for the New York Jets, Solomon Thomas.
You know, first of all, I want to appreciate y'all for being here. It means a lot to me, it means a lot to my family, but also I hope it helps and impacts you in a great way moving forward. When I was in high school, especially during the season, on a Tuesday night, I probably would have went home and slept instead of hearing about mental health. And so I really applaud and appreciate y'all for being here, because it takes strength, it takes courage, and you're gonna be able to help yourself, help other people, hopefully after this talk, and understand how important this is. But the reason I'm into mental health is that in 2018, I lost my sister Ella to suicide. And at the time, I didn't know much about mental health. You know, I didn't know much about anxiety, didn't know much about depression, and I just lost the most important person in the world to me to suicide. And I was just thrown in this world. I was angry, I was depressed, I was sad. You know, my sister was my best friend. She was everything to me. You know, my sibling, my only sibling. And I didn't know how to move on. I didn't know how to keep living and going through life. But you know, I had to. I was the third pick in the draft. You know, my second season's coming up, and I had to get ready to play. So, you know, I just went forward and I just kind of suppressed everything down.
Sounds fancy. All right, Sully, where did you grow up, and how would you describe what your childhood was like?
Solomon Thomas's rise to a top NFL prospect was a windy road. A journey that began all over the map.
So I kind of grew up kind of all over. You know, I was born in Chicago, lived there for 2 years, then we moved to Australia for about 5 to 6 years. After Australia, we moved to Connecticut, lived there for about 3 years in Stamford, Connecticut, and then from Stamford, Connecticut, we went to Texas, Coppell, Texas, and grew up there until I went to college at Stanford. And we got to see a bunch of different people, a bunch of different opinions, you know, just in a whole lot of different aspects. And I thought that was like just a good way to grow up, because you know, we weren't around this one kind of people or one kind of mindset or one kind of thinking, whether it was politically or spiritually or, you know, just how you lived your life. You know, the way we kind of saw things was different, you know, especially being biracial too, and growing up in these places too, and having, you know, a white mother and a black father, you know, that brought a whole nother aspect to it as well. But just, you know, we saw life like in a very kind of different way, I thought.
Through all of the highs and lows life had to offer, one thing tied everything together: family and his big sister, Ella.
It was like we were listening to someone speak their own language, that we didn't know what it was, except we knew it was good. They had their own thing going on, and it was really special.
So Ella, my big sister, you know, she was just, you know, this feisty, sassy, happy, loving, like kind of ball of light. You know, she just lit up the rooms that she was in.
She had this warm personality, great charisma, unbelievable wit, very feisty, which was great, but she also just wanted everybody to participate and just be heard. She wanted to make sure everyone was included, which was great. She just was, you know, just a battery of joy and energy.
She made you feel like in all your flaws and everything that was wrong, that you thought was wrong with you, she kind of lifted that up and made it feel okay. You know, she made you feel like very validated and very important and she was very thoughtful in how she approached with people. And, you know, it was just like, she just had this presence to her.
As you sit here today, how much has changed in terms of how you look back at that time in your life?
Really kind of everything's changed, you know, the way that I look back in that time of life. You know, when I was young and shy and, you know, kind of tentative and scared of the world, or, you know, it was kind of this socially awkward phase of making friends and finding out who I was. You know, now I'm older, and you know, I look back at it, you know, and I look back, you know, a kid who was kind of stuck in between two worlds. You know, I was, you know, a black kid with a white mother and a black father, but growing up in a very kind of white town in the South, and, you know, trying to figure out who I was and trying to understand what's okay and what's not okay, or, you know, understanding like are these my social norms or these other people's social norms that they're putting onto me and putting me in certain constraints? And, you know, and I look back at it and I was like, you know, I was just kind of like this shy kid trying to figure out in the world. But sports made me feel like I belong somewhere.
No fans, watch this. Number bands, $1 per band. And this box won't get hurt when I do this, what I just did. You want to get a number band, customize it any number you want. That's right, baby, get it.
As he came into his own, a quiet and humble Solomon found his voice on the defensive line.
Come on, Michael, get ahead of steam, baby.
It was surreal. A lot of times it felt like it was a movie set. You know, like I think it was after his freshman year, he hadn't even played varsity yet. He started receiving offers.
Let's try it again and go back out to Coppell, Texas, and Solomon Thomas about to make his decision. Solomon, good morning. Best of luck to you. Where are you going to play your college football?
Hello, sir. Thank you for having me on the show. And next year, I'll be playing college football, and I'll be graduating from Stanford University.
Who says the smart guys don't have a real sense of humor, too?
Off play action. Can't find an open receiver. Sacked at the 35 by Solomon Thomas. Defensive tackle out of Coppell, Texas.
Playing around with this for the last couple days, and we've got some really beautiful tie options.
You almost need a
Step stool.
What do you think?
I like it. I like it. Saw the mirror. Good.
All that bling over there.
Oh, gosh.
Are they gonna step it up a little?
Mother.
Solomon's ascent to the NFL was meteoric, setting the stage to hear his name called near the top of the 2017 draft.
So it's got to be Solomon Thomas, Jonathan Allen, or Lattimore or Adams. One of those four, and I'm guessing you're right because of all the buzz about San Francisco taking Solomon.
Chicago traded to 2.
It's hard. What pick did Stanford get? They just trade 2 to 3? You're in that green room and you're at the table with like all your most important people, and you know, I look at my family and my parents and my sister and like the people who've been there through me through it all. Hello?
Solomon. It's John Lynch.
What's up, Mr. Lynch? How you doing?
How you doing, buddy? You want to be a 49er?
Yes, sir. I'd love to be a 49er.
Right on, buddy. We're happy to have you. We're thrilled. And
with the third pick in the 2017 NFL Draft, the San Francisco 49ers select Solomon Thomas.
I just remember the hugs afterwards, you know, the hug that he gave Martha and Ella and the hug he gave me. I always have that hug, you know, embracing me for the rest of my life. You look at the people that are there at the table with you and like, you know, they're the reason I'm here. And, you know, it's just like through all the work, all the dedication, all the sacrifice, you're like, you know, this is my moment. And, you know, it was just such like a sacred moment. And, you know, having, you know, Ella, my mom, just kind of hug me out when I got drafted. She's yanking on my arm. Like, you know, you forever feel that. And I'll look back at those videos of her yanking my arm and they're screaming, happy, you know, just all like loving, hugging each other, getting drafted. And, you know, I always will feel that yank on my arm of just like Ella, just like being so excited, you know. She was probably the happiest person for me that I got drafted.
I can feel your heart beating there. Oh my gosh, I'm so crazy right now.
While the Thomas family celebrated Solomon reaching the pinnacle of football, Ella was struggling against a deep battle of depression and anxiety.
Ella had ADHD, and that was evident in middle school, but she was a good enough student and a good enough, didn't have, you know, behavior problems. But then she, as her studies got harder in high school, that also got harder for her to kind of keep her attention. She struggled with some anxiety and depression then. And then when she went off to college, it was a huge, too much of a jump.
My sister Ella, she was diagnosed with depression and anxiety. And I didn't know that for the longest time. I really didn't know that till I think, later in her life, closer to when she passed. But, she had high ADHD and, she struggled in school for that. She struggled a lot in school, being, a biracial black woman, in a white town, like always comments like, oh, you're cute for a black girl, or you're smart for a black girl, like all this stuff kind of hindered on her. And when I went off to college is when I kind of really noticed like Ella's mental health struggles. And, she would kind of like, her mood would change more often. It was more kind of sporadic, kind of like moods, like, really happy, like, overly happy to where like, Ella, is this you? And then like to really, really sad. And it was just like, kind of trying to gauge like what's wrong? Like, is she just going through a hard time right now or what is it? And, you ask her how she's doing and she would tell you that, she's doing okay, or she's doing bad, or she's doing good. She was very honest with us, but she definitely was hiding some things from us that she was going through. She suffered, some extremely traumatic events, in Arkansas that led to her dropping out of school. And that's when, you notice the worst in Ella. She was, always changing, always just like, just kind of happy then really sad and like really angry. Like it was always kind of dropping and changing.
What were those days, weeks, and months like after Ella passed?
Yeah, the days, even to this day, they still get pretty hard. The days like after were just kind of numb. Like I was like, I couldn't really believe the fact that, she wasn't here. It's hard to, like, every time her name came up, it's like another like sting to the heart that, hey, like Ella's not here. Like, and you kind of got numb to it. You kind of got numb to the pain. Like, you're just in this really just dark place of missing, like, your best friend, your big sister, like the person most important to you in this life who's helped you get to where you are. And
just not really being able to see any light for a long time. You lose a child and it's horrible grief, but you lose a child to suicide and it becomes even more complicated. Or you lose a sibling or anyone to suicide. There's these layers of complication that fall on top of it and make it even darker and lonelier and made us feel more isolated.
And you kind of don't know what's going on. And then you get angry, months after that. You're like, why is she not here? Like, and then like you realize she's not coming back and you get even more angry. And, it's just this vicious cycle of like anger and depression and just confusion of like, how do I continue to live? Like, what is this life? Like, I don't know, like I'm just dealing with my sister died. Like, how do I learn how to keep going? Like, how do I take that next step? How do I, learn how to, adjust to this new life with her not here and adjust to dealing with this anger, depression, sadness, guilt, grief? Like, how do I keep going? It's how the days go now, but I've learned to live with it. I've learned how to handle it. I've learned how to deal with the depression and deal with the anger. Like those days I cry and I'm angry, I still know how to have a good day. I still understand that it's okay that I wasn't just all happy today. I understand that, hey, like, these emotions are good. Like it's good to feel them because I'm not happy right now. Like I don't need to be happy because that's not what I'm feeling. And it's okay. Like I can sit with that and be at peace with that. Because then the next day, then I can start fresh and present and I can be happy that day. And I can see the positivity in the next day and see like how we can keep making changes and keep making strides,
Facing the pressures that come with being a top pick in the NFL, Solomon was fighting a much harder battle off the field.
Yeah.
Can you talk about your own struggle with mental health and then how did Ella's passing kind of open your eyes to what you yourself were really going through?
Yeah, my own like, yeah. So my own mental health journey, it was, it was a tough one because, it was one that I pushed off for the longest time.
At some point, I became scared watching him because he seemed so lifeless and just didn't seem to care at all after Ella died. And so I started asking him to get help. And he was very resistant to me. At some point or another, I asked the director of player personnel to please find someone to help my son. And because I was afraid, I was afraid what was gonna happen. And it just wasn't, it was playing out like on, in the NFL. And it was, all I did is watch him stand there and kind of hang his head, and he just didn't seem to care.
How you feeling, Solomon? Saw you came up limping in the middle of practice. Came back in, but any update on?
Yeah, feeling good. Just got nicked up. It happens playing in the trenches, but yeah, I'm all good. Just had to take a couple plays to move it around, but all good. I continue to struggle, and I continue to struggle with the fact that life just kept going on. Like, my sister's died. She died by suicide in a very traumatic way, and kind of shocked my family's world, and like, how are football games still going on? How is football practice still going on? How is everyone just living their life? It was just like, it's like anyone who experiences death, it's this feeling that like how does life just keep going on? Like, the seconds don't stop at all. But your whole world is just kind of thrown away. And I was kind of just stuck in that kind of anger and confusion of it all. I felt very alone, and I was dark, and it got so bad to a point where I was having thoughts of like, I don't want to be here. Like, I don't see the point of this. I don't see like what's good in life anymore. John Lynch came up to me in the cafeteria one day, and one morning was like, "Hey, Sally, like, so one way we got your back, and if you need help, we got it for you." And I sat in it that night, and I realized, hey, like, I really need help. And after that, I got into therapy. I learned how to cope with my emotions.
I also think the fact that he finally did open up and get the help he needed helps others understand it's okay to talk about, being vulnerable, needing help. It's okay to journal, it's okay to seek therapy. So, once he did get past the stage Martha just mentioned, he understood it's important to stand up and do what he thinks is right to make sure others know that it's okay to ask for help.
You've been, very outspoken about mental health. Like, you started to really use this platform. What really drove you and your family, through a tragedy like this to really want to speak about it and make others aware?
But Solomon has, in addition to his NFL career, been spending a lot of time and effort raising the volume on these issues.
Solomon Thomas, who will share his background and why he's connected to such an important discussion as this.
A groundbreaking new NFL campaign is tackling mental health head-on, and I had a chance to sit down with 4 players leading the conversation. Solomon Thomas of the Las Vegas Raiders hit a low after he lost his sister.
There's a lot of reasons why we wanted to, start speaking and make others aware of mental health. First of all, it was us going through losing Ella and the pain of losing Ella and the pain of the way we lost Ella. After she died, like, people would come and they supported us. We had unbelievable support and love, but people didn't know how to talk about suicide. It was like this taboo thing that people didn't know how to touch on, and they would be around us and like loving on us, but it was like this whole like kind of energy, like this shift that like you couldn't talk about or touch on, and that was like our first realization of like, oh, there's something here.
When we first did the interview on ESPN, and then after that we were asked to speak several times, and it almost seemed like Ella was sitting, she'd sit with us, sit on our shoulder going, come on, you gotta go save lives, you can do this.
All the stories that people sent to me, like, hey, like, thank you for writing about your sister. Her story saved my life. Her story made me not feel alone. Hey, I lost a cousin and uncle to suicide. Your sister's story resonates so well with me, and it encourages me and motivates me to keep going on. It was just kind of those kind of responses, like, every day after that. And, that is what motivated us to, keep going and to keep pushing.
We heard a message from a pastor saying, when you're given a mess, create a message. And so we wanted to create a message where we can go out there and save other people from going through the pain that we've gone through. So creating the D lines where we help people to not ignore their signs and to create the right supportive environments, all the other key elements of that, to make sure that we keep people alive. We give people the tools and resources they need to be the bridge to help folks stay here on this earth, to stay another day. So that really helped us quite a bit.
Through my own mental health journey, I've learned a lot. I've learned that it's okay not to be okay. I learned it's okay to be sad. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to be depressed. Like these are feelings of the human experience. And I've learned how important it is, to ask someone how you're doing,
How would you describe who Solomon Thomas is today?
Today, Solomon and his family continue to deliver what they hope is a life-saving message as they carry Ella with them every step along the way.
Today, I really feel like I'm just like a very passionate, fighter, for those who are struggling. I'm very perceptive. I'm someone who wants to be the best in whatever I'm doing. Something my dad always instilled in me, to be the best in whatever I'm doing, whether it's football, school, life, friends, brother, sister, son. But I really want to leave my footprint on this earth. I really want to make sure I'm impact everyone I'm around, whether it's a 5-second interaction or a 2-hour interaction. I want to make sure that, I'm challenging people to be better. I'm challenging myself to be better. I really just feel like I'm a fighter for those who are struggling. I'm a fighter for myself. I'm my sister's keeper.
It's powerful. It's powerful to know how caring she was about other people and how much she needed to be cared for. And so if we can help care for other people in her honor and in her name, we're going to keep doing it.
Got to find a way to impact and positively make a change each day. And every time we wake up, and we thank God for the 24 years we have with Ella, but now we just got to keep her vision and her breath and her life and her joy alive by helping others.
Well, I was at the darkest points of my life. You never know what someone's going through. So take the time to ask how someone's doing. Take the time to be vulnerable. Take the time to change the status quo of what being a man is. You can save a lot of lives. You can save your teammates. You can save your friends. It's really important. So again, I appreciate y'all being here today. It means the world. And I hope that you guys can take something from this. I keep her with me by keeping her spirit with me, telling her story, telling others how she struggled and how she fought. She's with us every step we go. She's speaking with us. She's speaking for us. I keep her with me in my smile and my laugh, in the way I try to make others feel present and be present with others. I just keep Ella in my heart every day.
Take me where the birds sing even song, where all your sad and lonely days are gone. I'll be where the summer rolls along. Oh, I'll be where the summer rolls along.